Joined now by Eddie Spradlen, head coach of the Greeneville Green Devils. Before we talk some football, how was your summer? You get to do anything fun?
I did a lot of traveling with my family. My son played a lot of baseball, so we did a lot of that, going to a lot of different places in Georgia and South Carolina, Florida. But a lot of baseball this summer, and then we've had a really good summer with the football program, so excited where we're at right now.
Looking ahead to 2025, every program wants to win championships, but there are some where that's the expectation based on previous results, and Greeneville is one of them. It's no secret, you guys, it's state championship. That's the goal every year. What about this year's team do you like that they can reach that goal?
One thing, like you said, that's kind of the standard expectation. We want to win championships there in all sports, and we've had a lot of success there. And, our main goal right now, we want to be Region 1 4A champs because that sets you up for a good playoff run. But excited about this year's team. When you say you got players like Caden Ball and Zayden Anderson coming back, you're really excited about that. Four-star Tennessee commit. We've not been able to say that in a long time, but then you got Caden coming back, who was the offensive player of the year in our region. So really excited about the group that we got coming back. We got a really good offensive line. Got to replace some really good seniors. Lost a really good group, but excited about this group.
I feel like that was the one thing in Greeneville. You guys had some great skill positions, but to me, I always thought your offensive and defensive lines would set you guys apart. How do you like where the trenches are for your team?
I really like that group. We're going to be really big. I'd say, across the board, we're probably going to, with our offensive line, everybody's going to be above 6 foot, and we're going to average probably 275 or more across the board. But, a lot of guys going to play both ways on that offensive and defensive line, so we still got to have some guys step up and be able to step in some meaningful time for us, but really excited about both sides of the ball with those guys.
You said you've been in Greeneville High School for 18 years. Just want to touch, can you go back to when you first got there, the sizes of linemen compared to now, just how that evolution has kind of changed?
I think that we've always had pretty good big size offensive line, but I think the big thing is, our offensive line right now is pretty dang athletic, can really run. I think that's the biggest difference from then to now is just how much more those guys were able to run. Just the training's different. You're training every athlete on your football team, as an athlete, not just, training speed with them all the time. So we really put a big emphasis on that, and as a result, those guys can really run. So excited about that group.
We're going to see Greeneville on Friday Night Rivals October the 3rd when they host Cherokee. Cherokee had a great season last year, 7 wins. They return their quarterback, Landon Jeffers. They're a team, again, they finished 3rd in your region last year. They really took a big step last year. So they're a team that is trying to make some noise in your region. Yeah,
for sure. Great player at quarterback. He's really excited about what he has coming back. They were in a lot of good football games last year that went down to the battle. So I expect it to be a big-time challenge when we get together on Friday night.
Then, of course, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but Zayden Anderson, UT commit. I know Greeneville, obviously, you're about an hour outside of Knoxville. Jacoby Gillespie's going to be playing basketball there this year. What is it like for the community to have somebody not only going to the SEC, but then the school right down the road as a commit? That's going to be pretty special.
Yeah, you can't say that many kids from this area has been down there. So then you got 2 that's going down there on full scholarship, and you're going to have an opportunity to really make a difference down there, especially Jacoby right now going in his senior year. And then Zayden, expect a big-time year from him this year. And, Tennessee wants him to play corner, so, he's not played much for us, and expect him to continue to get better. And he's got a big future in front of him as well.
As a coach and your offensive staff there, but what's it like having to draw up plays and make sure you get him the ball any way possible because he's such a special athlete?
Yeah, we talked about it last year. We probably should have got him the ball a few more times. He got hurt in the first quarter of that quarterfinal game last year, and so it kind of hurt what we did offensively and defensively, but we talked about it this year. We've got to, wherever we got to do to get him the ball, we've got really talented group of receivers out there with him, so excited about that, but we've got to make sure we get him the ball, let special things happen.
4A football, last 15 years, Elizabeth and Greeneville, Anderson County have always been in the mix. Now you throw Alcoa in, who jumped up from 3A. What does that do now to 4A when you have Alcoa, who's won, I think, 10 or 11 straight state championships at 3A, now in 4A?
I mean, there's a lot of good football that's played across the state of Tennessee, but when you step into 4A with this on this side of the state, it's as tough as it gets, because you go into, those other regions, Upperman, different teams over that way that have really been good, but 4A football is a tough place to be. So it's a challenge. And you got to play a really tough non-region game. I told our football team this week we're playing 2 teams with Power 5 quarterbacks on that. When's the last time we've been able to say that? You know, Sevier County's got a kid that's got a ton of offers. Upperman's got a kid that's got a Virginia Tech offer. So we got a really challenging schedule, and it's going to be a tough year. Then you talk about all those teams in 4A. So we got to make sure we get ready for a tough road through the season for sure.
I know you and I touch on this, but every other year when you have to make a schedule, you know, it's always hard. You do have a lot of teams in your region, thankfully, so you don't need as many non-region games, but not a lot of schools are calling you up, I imagine, say they want to play Greeneville. So you're playing Upperman, who beat you in the semifinals 2 years ago. Sevier County won the 5A state championship last year. So, I mean, you had to go kind of far out there to get some opponents.
Yeah, who made that schedule? They're going to be on me if we get beat by making that. But like you said, you know, we were able to pick up another region team. So we're in an 8-team region, had to pick up 3 games, and I struggled. You know, both Upperman and Sevier County both said no first, and they had trouble finding games, and it worked out that we, you know, didn't have any success local teams playing, and we're able to pick up Morristown West. We've played for a long time, and he always wants to play, so excited about that game to open up the season. But it's you're going to have to get on the road and travel some and against some really good football teams. But at the end of the day, that's what's made us successful, I think, the schedule we've been able to play over the years, and, you know, it prepares us to be a good football team in the playoffs, hopefully, if we can stay healthy.
All right, as Eddie Spradlen, Greeneville Green Devils, we will see them October the 3rd when they host Cherokee right here on Friday Night Rivals.